if I can fool you in today's day where the secret is out, then I've done my job. And I think I can do that in a way that very, very, very few people can do that in wrestling today.
Very much looking forward to talking to our next guest. I do believe this is our first time talking to her in quite some time, and I do believe it's her first chat as far as a public interview is concerned since leaving WWE, parting ways back in May. We've been talking to her for a very long time over the years, dating back to the Elite XC, Strikeforce, Invicta UFC, and then pro wrestling days. She is the Queen of Spades herself. She's the one and only Shayna Baszler, who is kind enough to join us right here and now on the program. Hello, Shayna. How are you?
What's up? I literally just walked in from the gym.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah.
Are you all sweaty and stuff? Are you uncomfortable?
No, I'm good. I'm good for right now.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. By the way, tremendous setup. You doing streaming? I think you're on Twitch or something, right?
Yeah. Doing, I stream on Twitch a little bit and a few times a week. And I have a YouTube that I haven't been very active on, but I'm definitely going to be firing that back up here coming up. I got some plans. So yeah.
Okay. Well, it looks great. It sounds great. And we appreciate you being here to talk to us. I do believe this is your first time talking since leaving WWE, right?
Yeah. In this sort of format, yeah.
Yes, of course, like an interview.
Yep.
Just for the sake of sort of being accurate, were you released or did your contract expire? How did it go down?
I was released. I had actually not too long ago signed an extension. So yeah, I wish it would have ran out, but yeah, I was released.
How much longer was on there?
I had 3 more years.
Oh, okay. Wow. So you just signed it. Was it relatively newly signed? Okay. What was your reaction when you found out about their decision?
It's kind of funny because I wouldn't say it's it's obviously never a good feeling, I don't think, in rare cases. But it was not unexpected. We hadn't, as far as Zoe and I, and with Sonya being released, and then since Sonya they didn't renew her contract, and then from that time, we just weren't on TV, me and Zoe, and so you kind of get this feeling like we were, trying to pitch stories and ideas and do our own stuff on social media and that kind of thing. And just nothing was really hitting with creative. So, I mean, as much as it's a bummer in that moment, it's kind of yeah, I kind of knew this was where we were at. So.
How did you find out?
They called me.
Okay.
They called me. I was fortunate to be one of those that did not find out through social media. But
Sure. And when they do this, when they call you, do they give you a reason? Do they say, hey, we just don't have anything, or we want to go? Is there any sort of reason, or it's no, we're parting ways?
Yeah, it's kind of just straightforward. We always hate doing this. We want to wish you the best. All the normal kind of cliche stuff. Nothing, nothing dramatic. No real reason why. And I'm not a person that's gonna sit in that moment and be like, but why?
Right.
Yeah, so
I believe you were signed by WWE in 2017, right?
Yep.
So it's been, a good 8 or so years with them. When you hang up that phone and allow the news to digest, what are you feeling in that moment?
Well, so, obviously we all are you become pretty good friends with people over the years. So there's people that were on that same release list that I'm friends with, Dakota Kai, there's, and you have this conversation, and I think about, at least for me, my height was that black and gold NXT era. And I don't say that, I guess it's easy for me to say that because I was champion at the time, and I'm very proud of that run that I had, but even just being in that era of wrestling, and I'm grateful that I had that. There's some people that I feel never really found their footing, whether that was they weren't given the chance or they just, didn't, for whatever the reason is, they never really got the same sort of like satisfied run that I had. Now I can sit and like commiserate and be upset that of all the different ways that I feel like a main roster run could have gone, but I'm overall very pleased with my time in WWE, and there's no arguing that equity wise it was amazing, right? Like there's such a reputable company as far as sports entertainment. Like there's I'm so grateful that I at least had that, because there, like I said, there's people, I mean, shoot, there's people that probably get told all kinds of promises just signing to NXT and then don't even ever make it on TV and get released. So it's
Right.
like I'm very grateful for my time.
So you don't look back with regret or what ifs. You're happy. You're content for them. Obviously, no one wants to leave, but there's no real like sort of bad blood.
There's no bad blood on from me. There is obviously there's stuff like I really feel like the whole COVID thing really threw a wrench in the way my run was supposed to go, and that's not anyone's fault. No one knew how that was going to go at the time, or how long, or whatever. And there's always like, man, if they would have just listened to this story I pitched. But I'm not a person that's going to sit and like commiserate on that stuff. There's some things that are in your control, and the things that were in my control is I can promise you, like as far as the my peers in the locker room, I have the respect of everyone there. And whether people, um you know, it's not about like what Twitter says. I feel like it's more important like when the people in the business that you do, that know the ins and outs and see the stuff that other people don't see, can respect your work. That's a bigger compliment than like, a fan liking the flavor of lollipop or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. So, um, no bad blood on my part. I do, there will be like, I wonder, man, I wonder if I could have been that, or why, there's all of that. But I don't know. You're just going to make yourself miserable, kind of like dwelling on the things that are not in your control. Sometimes we're not in control of, um, like creative and what stories they put. And as much as you want to say like everybody gets that opportunity, sometimes people don't get the same opportunities as others. But I can be proud of everything I had in my control, and I am. And I think, I don't know, as you know, like Josh Barnett is like a mentor of mine, and very important for my lineage. More important than like winning the WWE title is that did I carry the banner of that style of wrestling that I represent, which is when people watched me, they believed me,
Yeah.
So, and I think that is a harder thing to achieve in this day and age for pro wrestling than people realize. So, um,
well, can I ask, do you think you did?
Do I think I
Do you think that
achieved it?
Yeah, do you think you did that? Did you carry on that legacy? Did you represent the right way?
I think I definitely, if there's something to be said about my ring work, whether you thought I was exciting and you were a fan, or whether you thought I was boring and whatever, you believed what I was doing in the ring.
Yeah.
Like when I hit someone, I hit someone. And that's something that like with Josh and Billy and working along that whole arm of pro wrestling, that's something that's very important to me. And it to the point that sometimes my stuff looked so real that people are so used to seeing it a certain way in pro wrestling that they thought it looked the opposite. I don't know if I'm explaining that properly. For example,
okay,
me and Ronda have this MMA style match at SummerSlam, and you can say what you want. It was, we knew going in what was going to happen. We were pretty handcuffed for a lot of what went on around that, but I got so messed up. I legitimately like my eye was swelled shut. I broke my thumb. I hyperextended my elbow. Like I got so messed up that match. And I remember seeing people be like, if they were going to do an MMA match, they should have just hit each other for real. And I'm like, do you guys not like we were, but
Yeah.
you're so used to seeing like an arm swing back and the hair fly that you forget what real looks like. And so I think even in that we achieved what I set out to in some sense, you know? So um there's like I said, to get the respect of the peers and then have people believe. And anytime there was ever a whiff of a rumor of me shooting on someone in the back or in the ring, everyone believed it. So I think that says,
yeah, you're legit.
no,
You're a shooter.
yeah.
You're a legit fighter. Former UFC
Right.
fighter, all that stuff. When you left the UFC in 2015 and you embarked on this journey, could you have ever imagined it'd work out this way? Here you are 11 years later, essentially leaving WWE like with a great run, as you mentioned, with some great highs, or had all this exceeded your expectations?
This is it's strange because it's a little bit of both, right? Like I always thought, man, I'm going to take this as far as I can. Like there was that moment, but at the same time, I think I was getting into pro wrestling right as the changeover for what women's wrestling and how it was presented was happening, right? That was right around the time NXT was taking off and you had like their NXT horsewomen were like really changing things, and it was right at that time that I started crossing over. So it wasn't quite a tangible reality for uh I already had this long MMA career, so I'm on the older end of combat sports. And so I don't know. It was I think I don't know if people even realize this, but my WWE debut was on Total Divas. And I was helping coach Nikki Bella's return. Natty had brought me in, and I remember thinking, sweet, since I'm older, maybe they'll see I can coach like this. You know what I mean? Like,
Wow.
and that was kind of a thing. And then when I got a tryout and they were talking about, doing this Mae Young Classic and all this, then it started kind of being like, if they're being serious, I can take this pretty far. So.
And so that actually leads me to some of the stuff that I saw that I wanted to ask you about. Did you return after parting ways as an NXT producer?
So it's really funny. This whole thing kind of blew up bigger than it was. So I have no I have a really good relationship with WWE still. I'd like to think, especially with NXT, with the time I put in and the coaches there. So I had just happened to I'm not gonna like name any names, but I happened to be in to help some friends of mine work on some submission transition stuff. And they like, is it cool and whatever? And it happened to be on a Tuesday. And the truth is, years ago, when Daniel Bryan was it was during the COVID era, but so like people might not know this, but in Gorilla, you can if you have the opportunity to like sit on a headset and hear all the communications going on with the truck and the production and all of that stuff. However, generally speaking, just for the top guys, like I wasn't in a position to sit and do that on main roster, but I remember Daniel Bryan telling me if you ever get a chance to do that, it completely changed his understanding of how wrestling works, right? So he understood like, oh, they want me to do this because of this camera and it takes this long to switch to this angle, so that's why I have to hold this there's just certain you see wrestling differently for TV, and I always remembered that. And so anytime I was around NXT after that, I would just jump on a headset and listen
Oh,
to the
wow.
calls. And so I happened to be there that Tuesday, jumped on a headset and listened to the calls. So it wasn't like, I wasn't like on a microphone like,
So what
all
happens
right,
then?
we're gonna
Someone then tells someone else and be like, Shayna's a producer now at NXT? Because that's how it kind of came across.
kind of telephone
Yeah.
game, I suppose. I mean, and I haven't been gone for a million years. I know many of the talent there, so there was maybe if anything can be said, it was like, oh, I have an idea. Why don't you do this and this and this? But I wasn't like standing there putting this match together, writing down the notes and like on a mic to the truck being like, all right, we're gonna need a floor camera to,
Yeah.
it wasn't any of that. Um, but I mean, we have that kind of open relationship where is it a possibility someday? Sure. I would like to think so. maybe they I shouldn't I shouldn't speak for them. Maybe they think different, but that's not beyond the realm of possibility. I would love to be the Inoki of NXT and bring a little, visceral reality into things. But I also am not sure I'm ready to be done in the ring. But I also am not sure I'm one of those people that would ever feel like I'm ready to be done. So there's a lot to like juggle around, you know what I mean? So
was it just that one time?
it's been a few times. I mean, it's as far as that whole thing sitting on a headset in NXT, I've been doing that forever. Like I've been doing that. It's just I think no one paid attention because I was a talent.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it was like normal to see me there. So I think this thing, and actually it's funny because I'd been doing that pretty much my whole 90 days. I'm just in there helping out with a couple matches here and there of friends of mine. And then it wasn't until NXT had a show right before Evolution when all the Raw and SmackDown girls came and showed up in the audience and they were promoting like the Battle Royal. And so I know it was one of them. It had to have been because I'd been there. No, but in all seriousness, I think it was just like a game of telephone. Like somehow it got out that I was on a headset and it translated into me producing,
But you know how it is. Not any Joe Schmo off the street could be on a headset back there. And so
yeah, for sure.
There's a level of trust, I would imagine. And I wonder if you want to do it. Like if they called you up and said, you want to do this full time. Do you even live in Orlando?
I do.
Okay. So like, would you say yes? Would you be open to something like that?
I'd be open to discussing something like that. A conversation would need to be had about, the normal things, the money and and then also, as I said, I'd have to really sit and kind of like figure out what in ring looks like. But I'm very aware of like where I'm at in the world as far as like I'm in my 40s. This is not like a young person's you know what I mean? This is not and all that to say there are people in their 40s at the height of it. So could I? Like this would all be stuff I'd have to navigate. I do not take lightly that they allow me to even especially it's not often. I think the anomaly of it is like I think any talent could go to NXT and be like, "Can I just sit on a headset?" Like I think anybody could do that. I think the anomaly is that I was released and they still allowed me to do that. I always think, I wrestled when I was a kid. I was in MMA. I was in combat sports gyms my whole adult life. I was in pro wrestling. Like these are all very male dominated industries. And I think they're always looking for women that can step into a role like that. So like I said, it's not beyond the realm of possibility. And I don't take lightly the sort of compliment it is for them to even allow me to do that post being released. So I just take it all as even if nothing comes of it, I'm learning the craft. I'm learning a whole other side of the craft. So it's just more tools to put in my tool bag.
You're free and clear at this point to sign with anyone, right? Your 90 days are up?
Yep.
Have you talked to other promotions?
There's been talks and I have, it's really funny. There's some indie companies that at the time I signed with WWE, it was for the Mae Young Classic. And so we did the Mae Young Classic and I hadn't like officially signed on full time yet. And kind of the discussion or the understanding at that time was like, just sign. And then when you need to drop all those titles on the indies, we'll let you kind of go back and take care of those. And then that never came to fruition. So, these companies have reached out and been like, hey, remember that title?
Yeah.
So there's been some talks. Obviously it's not a secret. I'm really good friends with Marina. I have a lot of friends there. So there's been some discussion as to what the future could hold, for sure.
Would you like to go to AEW?
I would like to. I've said this. I said almost exactly this statement when people were talking about UFC to WWE transition, I don't care as much the letters behind it. I just want to practice my craft, and if I can do that alongside my friends, that's always a great place to be. So I'm not going to say a hard no to any of that.
An Invicta promo aired during a TNA show, I believe Slammiversary, and so everyone thought like, oh, this is a sign that she's going to show up there. Did you see that?
I caught wind of some fans and some social media buzz about an MMA return. Yes.
MMA, or meaning that you'll show up on TNA, like this is sort of like a way to introduce you to the TNA audience.
Yep. Yeah, I saw some of that. And again, this is another reason why I think for anybody that's thinking about getting into this business or whatever your goals are, if your goals are WWE, it's good to keep good relationships because if that worked out, I'm glad that if the possibility of a TNA thing were to come to fruition, I am in a position that I haven't burned that bridge. They work very closely with WWE, right? So if I were to get out and do all these podcasts talking about how creative did me dirty and this and that, like there's like a lot of doors that close for me, So the TNA, god dang, their women's division is so good right now too. But it's the same as it's always been, man. Wherever there's bodies that people want to see me move in ways that look disgusting and they want to see that, I'm down to do it. We just got to iron out the details.
By the way, you did mention MMA. Is that a possibility?
Oh man, I tell you what, I think I am smart enough to know that I could keep up here, but the training I would have to do to get back into MMA shape, and not that it would be impossible. I'm not saying like I'm too old. Just the work that it would take for me to get back into that sort of shape to be competing at the level that I would be satisfied competing at. I don't know if I have that in me anymore. You know what I mean? That's a grind, man. And I did that grind, and I don't know. It's I think I could see myself in a more of a coaching capacity than actually competing in MMA. But I mean, hey, who knows? They're gonna open some old timey legends division or something. Who knows?
Do you still keep up with it? Do you still watch it?
Yeah, I do. And obviously now a lot more, just time constraint wise, I would watch kind of the bigger cards, the bigger UFC cards or whatever. I have a lot more time now, especially because if people have paid attention to my YouTube channel, I kind of have this like, here's pro wrestling in MMA and grappling. So I'll show like a Daniel Bryan yes lock, but here's how you can use it in like a jiu-jitsu match or something. And so I like now that I'm trying to get that fired back up and rolling again, I like being relevant. Like I don't just want to throw random stuff on the channel. I want to be relevant. So if I see, someone hit something crazy, some crazy submission that people are like, holy smokes, and then I could show the pro wrestling history behind that or whatever. I like keeping up on that stuff. I studied it for years, so it's never going to be out of my system,
Earlier when you were talking about the Ronda match, SummerSlam 2023, her last match, you mentioned you guys were handcuffed. What did you mean by that?
Well, just we were very aware that in a stadium environment, that sort of match to a pro wrestling crowd is going to be hard to see. And we were kind of counting on this Jumbotron, but the stadium didn't have a Jumbotron. So we knew like it'd be hard for people to see. And on top of that, because we were in a stadium, so a lot of people were talking about like, why wasn't it a cage match? Like they didn't have the structure in a stadium rather than a bigger arena to lower a cage or a fight pit. And just I think it would have been different if okay, I'm not saying this in a way that's like this isn't like a jab or anything, but if we had been like the men's title picture, I think, and it was the last match of the night, and they could have like brought that stuff out and built the cage around it or something along those lines. We could have done something like that, but because we were not the last match, there was no way to quickly like cart the pieces of structure out, build it, and then also take it back down and cart it back out for the next match to take place. So we tried, we tried to get creative, and it was just tough. The venue made it tough. I do think like Ronda having a sort of hard out date kind of handcuffed us in that we had to rush, like we had to like do the story now. I think it would have been better served to have that sort of match as like a blow off after a longer feud.
Right.
But yeah, I did. The handcuffs were not like you're not allowed to do this. It was more just the circumstances of the event, the time, and the venue that we were at.
Obviously, the era is completely different now, but I had read a while ago that initially, and correct me if I've got this wrong, Vince didn't really sort of like understand your style or didn't get your style and was like kind of slow to get on board with it. Am I wrong with this?
No, it wasn't that he didn't get my style. He very much understood my style. I think and this isn't just a Vince thing. I think this is a thing in modern pro wrestling as far as training, is that I have to dance this dance between this sort of UWFI blood sportish type of style with the way modern wrestling is presented today. And people know it when they see it. So if we're talking about Vince, for example, Vince knew that he wanted it when he saw it. He didn't exactly know how to communicate what it was he wanted to see out of me. Does that make sense? So you're talking about a guy that knows the ins and outs of pro wrestling, like unbelievably, obviously, right? So he knew like that could work, that could work, that could work. But he also knew like, because I know your background, it looks weird when you do a drop kick. So try to think of something else there.
Okay.
He didn't necessarily know to tell me this is the move you should do, but he knew like, that's not right. I need you to do something different. So, and that's, you used Vince as the specifics, but that's kind of like most pro wrestling today is that way. And that's where I think, the possibility of like coaching, producing someday, I would be a great like niche fit in for someone, because I could look at someone like I see these, it's a big thing now, right? Everybody studies some sort of jujitsu or MMA. I could see someone coming in and then they learn how to do a drop down leapfrog hip toss, but it looks weird because it's like you wrestled D1, you know how to do a hip toss. Why are you doing it like that? You know what I mean? So I think just having a translator is where I could have maybe gotten in a little bit faster. I had to kind of navigate that myself, but yeah, it wasn't that he didn't understand. It was that he didn't know how to communicate to me what he wanted to see to fit into today's modern wrestling. Kind of had to figure that out on my own.
You briefly mentioned Bloodsport. They just had another great show, SummerSlam week, in New Jersey. Your guy, Josh Barnett, I love what they're doing. And I know you competed for them in April in Vegas. You seem to be a fit. Like if there ever was a person, especially on the women's side of things, that would be perfect for Bloodsport, it would be you. Safe to say, more appearances to come there?
Yeah, I imagine. I'm very, very close with Josh. If people don't know, he's like, I don't want to say he's like a father because he's not. He's more like your uncle that let you swear and have a beer with him.
A mentor is a good way to describe him too, right?
He's very much a mentor. Man, I owe him my life. He changed my life. I was just this kid from the Midwest. He brought me out and started helping me in MMA, and he helps me understand the other side, the entertainment side, right? And so, I'll always do my best to help Josh and his stuff. And like you said, that blood sport style of wrestling is the wrestling that I came up in. That's the wrestling I know. That's the banner of that style of wrestling is what I feel a responsibility to carry. And I think that's why when I do go to Bloodsport, it's such a good fit and it seems so natural because that's the type of wrestling. That's the type of wrestling that I know, you know? So I'll always be, you can always hear rumblings of me being on Bloodsport, I'm sure.
Oh,
I'll be like Minoru Suzuki and be like 60
Yeah,
going
yeah.
and doing Bloodsports.
Japan would be tremendous as well. I'm just curious, now that you look back with some distance on the run, what was the high point? Not NXT, main roster, what are you most proud of? Is it Elimination Chamber? Is it the Ronda match? Is it something in between? What is it? What comes to mind?
You know, so all those things are great. I really feel like people are going to be surprised to hear this, but I really feel like me and Naya's tag team run during the COVID era,
Yeah.
if that would have been on TV, would have been like, I thought for two people that weren't really friends, like we just met, we didn't hang out ever, the chemistry we had on screen, and then just like the run we had, I think people forget because we were heels, but we were running all three brands during that era too. Everyone talks about like Sasha Bailey doing all three brands and carrying the COVID era, but we were on all three shows carrying that tag division. We were on every show. And I really wish, if there is like one huge regret, I really wish that would have been in front of fans, or we could have gone back to that and see how they would have reacted. And then obviously just for my personal thing, the Ronda match, I know it's maybe not what people, I don't know, expected or wanted. I'm very proud of that match because we stuck true to what we knew that style should be, and we wanted to give that at the time, and we said it before the match that I think 10 years from now people are going to look back and see it with different eyes than they did in that sort of environment that it was in. So I'm glad that we pulled that off. The promos, the stuff leading up to it, I'm so proud of. Yeah, I think probably those two things.
That's fair. That's fair, and I appreciate that. By the way, I know you're into like the war game Warhammer.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this stuff, and we were watching some of it. There's actually a guy on our show, our audio extraordinaire, Mysterious Frank, who's dying to ask you a question. Frank, take it away. Ask Shayna a question about this wacky world.
Hey, Shane, I'm a avid 40K hobbyist, less
Nice.
than a player, but I was just curious, what army are you fielding now? Like, if you could just speak to that or what you've done in the past.
So I
have no idea what he just said, by the way.
I have this tattoo right here.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's sick.
So I'm a huge Iron Warriors fan. I can't even put my finger on why. It's just like his story, and I'm like, yeah, he is. He does do all the hard work, the unglorious work. This guy deserves more, you know? I don't know. Maybe I identified with it a little bit, but my whole gym I call my gym, my home gym, the Iron Cage. And I have, you can get like custom, like signage for your squat rack, and it says iron within, iron without. So I'm super into Horus Heresy at the moment, as far as like the miniatures and stuff.
So
Frank, you don't know what she's talking about. Stop pretending,
Absolutely,
Frank.
30K. I know exactly what she's talking
Okay,
about.
all right.
But based on like the Sidious statues and stuff behind you, are you like way into like the dark side of things, like the heels, so to speak, when it comes to your geekdom?
Yeah, I think I do lean more heel. I think I like I guess heels and people that do character study on storytelling and stuff will tell you, like, if the best heels are the ones that are justified. And I think I love when a story can be like, oh, this totally makes sense. Like I really like Darth Vader's story not because, he's cool, like everyone thinks he's cool and it's cool to like the bad guy. But honestly, if you got a vision, if you knew you had powers and you got a vision from the future that the love of your life was going to die, and someone said, listen, follow me, I can give you the power to keep her alive. Every one of us would have done what he did. And I think like people, I don't know, people get so stuck on like liking bad guys because they're cool. I like bad guys because I'm like, wait, I totally would have fallen into that bad guy stuff because that makes sense to me.
Okay, you lost me there for the last couple of minutes, but I'm so happy, Frank. He's been dying to ask you this question, and he's so happy. He's. I think he popped really hard for just
on my Twitch.
Okay.
I'm adding one night a week where I'm doing an IRL stream, and it's just me painting and talking to the chat.
Wow, Frank, get on that.
Yeah,
there it is.
Me there. I appreciate it.
There it is. I want to ask you one last thing before I let you go. When you left, when the word got out, you tweeted, "No one can offer what I have to offer. Reality. Let the galaxy burn." What are you trying to tell us there? You're legit. You're a shooter. This isn't play fighting to you.
There's no one in all of pro wrestling that can offer. It's exactly what I said. P.S. Let the galaxy burn is a Warhammer reference also.
Oh, damn.
I just know, I know what I have to offer. And I'm not saying this in a way like, I know my value. Like, that's not it. I know that I have something that especially amongst women, nobody has. If I could tell you, not to get into this, I'm not going to use names, but if I could tell you the people that come to me to ask for a way out of this or that hold, or a transition, or do you have a submission, or like, my fingerprints are forever on this business, and I know that. Whether people know that or not, that's a whole other thing. But that's not. I just want to keep the flag waving for catch wrestling and for the roots of what pro wrestling was, which is you believe these people, and I offer that. And there's very few people that can offer that today. So, and it's harder today because the secret about pro wrestling is out, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think, if I go to Vegas and I watch Chris Angel saw a woman in half, we all know he's not really doing that. The secret is out. But if he does his job right, we come away and we're like, I saw everything. He had to have cut that woman in half. I have no idea. And so if I, as a pro wrestler with my background, am doing my job right, people will come away going, that was for real. Like, she must have been mad at her, or she botched. I love that too. Boy, she botched that. Like, if I did that, then I'm doing my job. Because if I can fool you in today's day where the secret is out, then I've done my job. And I think I can do that in a way that very, very, very few people can do that in wrestling today.
Well, I have to say, I from afar took immense pride in seeing you succeed on this level, knowing you from the MMA world, and then see, like, you're one of us. It was so great because you had been talking about it, and then to see you manifest it and succeed. I remember seeing you on that indie show in Cleveland the weekend of UFC 203.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, she's really doing it. It's unbelievable. And then to go as far as you did was unbelievable. So congratulations on an incredible last 10 years in this wild and wacky world, and looking forward to seeing you do from this point forward. So thank you so much, Shayna. Great to reconnect. Great to have you on. Again, congrats, and appreciate you coming on to talk to us after the dust has settled.
Yeah, thank you very much. I wanted to get on right away, but I had that whole 90 days.
I got
didn't
you.
Want to mess up, but I thank you so much for the support over the years. You've been there since the beginning. So, like, Invicta, even before that, like Bodog and all that.
Oh,
stuff.
yes.
So
we'll still be here.
It's pretty crazy. So yeah, there's more to come. So hopefully not the last time I'll be on here talking about that.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that. For now, thank you. Congrats, and good luck in this next chapter.
Thank you.
There she is, Shayna Baszler, coming on to talk about life after WWE. Great stuff, and what a run. Don't know if a lot of people thought it would go quite that way when she left UFC in 2015. Some 10 years later, she's an 8-year WWE vet, had a great run early on the indies, and then an amazing run in NXT, and then a really great run in WWE as well. Some massive highs. So good on her. Well done. Congratulations on a great run, and appreciate her coming on. Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.